Bonjour à toutes et à tous, ravie de vous voir aussi nombreux aujourd'hui pour ce démodé de présentation de fin de projet de première année et de seconde année. Aujourd'hui, on va avoir 4 groupes qui vont passer. On a des étudiants qui ont commencé chez nous en juin dernier et qui donc vont vous montrer au bout de 9 mois de quoi ils sont capables. On va commencer avec Priam qui nous fait le plaisir d'être le premier à commencer. Bravo, quel courage, incroyable. Sans plus attendre, je vais lancer donc la présentation, le live, et puis je te souhaite bon courage. Et je pense qu'on peut l'applaudir pour lui donner un petit peu de courage.
So, hello everybody, thank you for being here. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you to Hello You Artist, or IA for short. IA is the brainchild of Carl Zongo, who is its CEO, project owner, and UX designer. As for me, I worked on the backend to implement new features. So to give you some context, Hello You Artist is a social media web application which is designed to help you archive your musical memories. So as you can see from this example post, you have an embedded music player, which is contextualized by a description, moods, and a discovery period, so that you can see any strong memory you have that is tied to music at a glance. The next step was to offer a more complete user experience with a gamified quest system and premium content. So to get a bit technical for a minute, the way it works is that a user who's on the web application is going to send a request to the backend, which will then either query data from the database, which is Supabase in this case, or from an external API, like YouTube data or SoundCloud if for musical needs, or Stripe in case of payment. Any of these will send back data or an event in the case of Stripe, which will be processed by the backend, which will then send back a final response so that our front-end application can display that in the user's browser. So before I start the demo proper, you have to know that what you're about to see is not the final UI, nor is it the final wording. If you want to see all that, you'll have to wait a couple of weeks. So let's start with the freemium experience. From the feed, you can go to your profile and the quests are right there at the top. As a freemium user, you have 6 quests initially, but at any time, you can click on that button to learn more about the premium experience and proceed with the payment, which is hosted by Stripe. So what does the premium experience offer? First of all, more quests. More than just those 3, but you'll be reading the method anyway. What is the method, you may ask? Well, you can find it right there too in your profile, and it is a book written by CEO Carl about archiving your musical memories. You can read comfortably from any screen size, and once you're done reading, if you want to go back to the feed, you want to check out the new post, you can do all that, being confident that when you go back to the method, you can pick your reading back up exactly where you left off. So I met Carl in October last year during the Partners and Connect event. Then we spent a couple months talking about the future of Hello You Artist and what I could bring to it. Once we had an outline that was validated, I wrote the technical documentation. Then February meant 5 weeks dedicated to actually developing the new features. Today, I am presenting the MVP to you all. And as I said, it's not the final version. So if you want to see that with a gorgeous UI, you can do that during its official launch during the PIX Festival, which starts on April 7th. So all projects have their challenges and their victories. For me, one of the biggest challenges was the code base, which was created using Replit, so an AI-powered website builder. There was a lot of code that was very long files, as well as files that weren't in use for the final version anymore. So it took me a little while to get used to that and figure out exactly what went where. But once I had done that, I hit another issue, which was the database switch. So initially, Hello You Artist was powered database-wise by upright. But I would need, in order to follow the progress of Quest for every user, a relational table. And relations between tables in upright is an experimental feature subject to change. So I wasn't fully confident with that. Took that issue to Carl, and we decided in the end to make the move from upright to Superbase, which meant moving not just the database itself, but also the user authentication. All in all, that took about a week, which is a long time to spend completely out of scope. And the scope issue would follow me further, because when you're working on a project that is very alive and that has so much potential for growth, you need to remind yourself that any new idea that you can have during development stage has nothing to do with you, and the final project has nothing to do with you either. So it was kind of hard for me not to go into a rabbit hole. Then, due to the database delays and the deadlines as a whole, I didn't have all the time I wanted to really have an in-depth understanding of everything that I used and discovered for this project, which was frustrating. But of course, on the good side of all that, I got to work with a client, which is something that I had wanted to do ever since I came here, basically. And I'm really glad that I got to work with Carl, because first of all, he's very passionate about his project. He was very open to conversation and any type of decision. He was very understanding. So it was really a treat working with him, and I'm very happy about that. Then it's an impactful project, which is, it already has a beta version that's open with about 100 users at least who have contributed almost daily for the past few months. So you can tell it's a project that's going to grow a lot. And I'm very excited to see what the future brings, especially knowing some of the plans. So yeah. And of course, any challenge is going to bring growth. So I grew personally and professionally. So in conclusion, all three features, namely the quests, the Stripe payment, and the ebook reader, were delivered. The logic for the quest progress is reusable, which means that for any future need that Carl may have, he will be easily able to tinker with that and get exactly what he needs. The new features were merged successfully with the codebase of the previous version. So that's a big win. And special mention to the quest feature, which was a lot of fun to implement, a lot of little logic, so one of my favorite types of puzzle. And also a shout out to React Reader, which is what I use for the ebook reader, which was very easy to implement, so I'm definitely looking forward to using it again anyway. So yes, thank you very much for listening to me. A huge thank you to the Holberton staff, my cohort mates, my friends and family for supporting me, even though some of them sometimes had no idea what I was talking about. And an even bigger thank you to Carl for trusting a complete stranger with his brainchild. So yes, if anybody has any questions, now's the time. Yes, Sarah?
I give you the mic.
What happens if users complete a quest, like for example the post-related one, but then after deleted the post? What happens to the quest?
So the way this is implemented is that, for instance, there's a quest where you have to make a public post. So you make a public post, the quest is validated, it's completed. If you decide to put it on private later, it's not going to undo the quest, because once a quest has been completed, it's never rechecked. And this is to make sure that users don't end up having to redo some of the same quests over and over again, because that would be a pretty bad experience, in my opinion.
Okay, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. All good?
No more questions?
For premium content, you use a Stripe.
Yes.
Okay. How do you check on the backend side that payment is validated before activating an option?
So with Stripe, you can have a webhook, which means that Stripe sends you events and it sends responses and events back to an endpoint. That way you can actually get the checkout session when it's completed. Here we listen to the payment intent. So if the payment is successful, we know that then we're going to change the user from freemium to premium. If the payment intent is cancelled or anything else, we adapt actually the response that Stripe sends to us to ensure that things all go well.
Okay. Another question, you have integrated new features into an old code.
Mhm.
Okay. How did you make everything work well together?
Well, because of the move to Supabase, because I wanted to make sure that everything we used as far as packages and versions went, that we wouldn't have any vulnerabilities, I had to actually update a lot of the packages and everything that were already in use. So that meant such a big change already that in the end, mostly what I did was, okay, all this is updated, I need to change just this and that. But I tried to stay within the same logic as the code that was already created, mostly to make sure that Carl after that would be able to still navigate it properly and so that he wouldn't need me for the rest of his life, basically. So yes, it was a bit complicated at times, but I made it work.
No more question? Ok, thank you Priam. Je rappelle que Priam, tu travaillais avant chez Auchan Retail et tu es
Effectivement.
aussi détenteur d'un DUG en langue et culture japonaise.
Exact.
Et donc, ça fait seulement 9 mois que tu codes. Donc, je te
Exact.
félicite pour cette présentation, pour ton niveau d'anglais, ta fluence et pour tout le travail que tu as fait. Je pense qu'on peut encore l'applaudir. Standing ovation. On se retrouve d'ici 5 minutes à peine, le temps que l'autre personne s'installe, notre groupe. Et à tout de suite. On se retrouve pour le second passage d'un étudiant, donc C27 Lille, qui a commencé, je le rappelle, en juin seulement et qui va nous présenter un projet sur une mini blockchain. Mustapha, je te laisse le champ libre.
So, hello everyone. Today I present my project, Mini Blockchain. I choose this project because since while I'm interested by blockchain technology, and I wanted to understand how it works. So I decided to build a blockchain for with a simple website for understand it. But first, what is a blockchain? A blockchain is a technology for decentralized data storage. The data is stored in a block, and each block has a unique ID that called hash. When we create a block, we add to this block the hash of the previous block for create a chain of block with the blockchain. And for ensure the chain is immutable, because if we change something in the block, we change the hash, so we broke the chain. This technology is used in many fields, like the finance with crypto, the healthcare with for securize the sharing of medical reports. In logistic with the supply chain for follow a product from the factory to the store. In the legal field with the smart contract, and even in for voting for transparent election. For this project, I was alone, so I'm the backend and the front-end developer. For the MVP of the project, I wanted these following features: a hash that starts with a determined number of zero for the proof of work, the possibility of mine a block and check the integrity of the blockchain, and display the entire blockchain on the website. I use C for build the blockchain engine. I use Flask and Python for the API. I also use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the front end. For this project, I don't have a database, but I have a JSON file where I store the entire blockchain. And I also use Docker for ensure the code is compatible for any machine. For the architecture, we got the users that access to the website and decide to see the blockchain, to mine a block, or to check the integrity of the blockchain. Then the front end send the HTTP request to the API. Then the API calls the C function and decide to write or to read the JSON file. For the demo, as you can see, when we have when we come to the website, we can see the entire blockchain. For each block, we got all the data, like the index of the blocks, the number of transactions, the date of creation, the hash that starts with 30, because I choose 30 for the proof of work for this project, the previous hash, the transaction, and the nonce is a number that we for calculate the hash of the block. When we click on mine a block, we can choose 5 transactions. So we make a sender, server, and the amount of the transaction. We start mining. As you can see, we got a success message with the index of the blocks that we create. The block rate is here. As we can see, the hash is here. Start with 30. Here we got the previous hash of the block number 2. We can check the integrity of the blockchain. Here is valid. And if we modify a block, and come back on the website, we can see a corrupt error message when we check the integrity. And if the blockchain is corrupt, and we try to mine a new block, we got a error message, blockchain is corrupt, so we can add the block. So as you can see, for these projects, all the features wanted are present and functional. This project helped me to better understand how works the blockchain, and also learn me new things like to connect my C and Python. For the future improvement of this project, I would like to secure my C against buffer overflow and the API against invalid input data. I would also like to run the mining process in background for not block the API, the time of calculating the hash. So to conclude, this project convinced me that I want to work on blockchain in the future. And you can find this project on my GitHub, github.com/staffhash. And I would like to thank Holberton staff for their trust and my cohort for their support of this year. Thank you for your attention. And do you have some questions?
Thank you, Mustafa. Do you have some question? Oh. Put your hands up.
Thank you. Why did you choose C instead of Rust or Solidity or another one? Just for the challenge, or you want to improve your, I don't know, abilities in C?
It's because during these years we learn C, and that's why I prefer during the years.
Okay.
So I wanted to do this in C, and because I want to do the specialization low-level blockchain, and we do it in C.
Okay, thank
So
you.
for the moment, I wanted to know if I was
Able?
capable
Yes.
of do it in C.
Thank you for your presentation. So how do you check if a block has been corrupted?
I recalculate the hash of the block with all the with all the data, and I compare it to the last hash. If it's not the same, so it's corrupt. And I also check if the previous hash is the same of the hash of the previous block.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Why is asynchronous mining your priority for improvement?
What you parles du mot?
Why is asynchronous your asynchronous mining your priority for the next step?
Because for the moment, for the API, for send the response to the frontend,
Okay.
it has to wait to find the good hash. So I would like to make it in background for not block the front end for the user during this moment.
Okay. Another question: how did you call your function in C from your Python code?
I use une bibliothèque, je sais pas comment on dit bibliothèque, library.
Yeah,
I use a library in Python that is called ctype, And when I compile my C code, I compile with specify flag for share the C code with Python.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mustapha. Bravo pour cette présentation. On aime bien avoir des projets blockchain. C'est le deuxième depuis Holberton Lille. Il n'y en a pas beaucoup. Bravo pour ton envie de continuer sur ton rêve de départ, on va dire, parce que tu es l'un des rares qui choisit cette spé blockchain. Elle est plutôt costaud, donc bravo. Et puis, tu vas être papa bientôt, donc c'est aussi très courageux de continuer tes études avec voilà, les sujets perso que tu vas accueillir en même temps. Voilà, bah, je pense qu'on peut le applaudir. Il est en pleine forme là, on n'arrête pas les applaudissements, c'est incroyable. On se retrouve dans 5 minutes pour un groupe de 2 cette fois-ci. À tout de suite. Ravi de vous retrouver sur ce live YouTube pour la présentation démodée des C27 et C22 spécialisations. On accueille donc Sarah Vaquiez et Christophe Sagnier qui n'étaient pas du tout dans le développement avant. Sarah, tu étais détentrice d'un bac plus 4 en commerce en Allemagne et grande vadrouilleuse. Quant à toi, Christophe, tu étais chauffeur poids lourd. Et donc, on est ravis de voir, enfin, on a hâte surtout de voir ce que vous allez nous montrer, ce que vous nous avez concocté. Je vous laisse le micro, je vous souhaite un bon courage et je demande des applaudissements pour vous donner plein de confiance.
Hello, everyone. Today we will talk to you about the project we've been working on for the past weeks. It's called Novi, and it's pretty cool.
Here is the team that work on the project. First, we have Liv Favorel, our project owner, who trusts us with the development of this project. When we have Sarah, who is in the C27, she was developer on this project and handled the database design and the technical test.
And we have Christophe, who is also in C27. He was also a developer on this project, and he handled most particularly the security issues and the live testings.
So, what is Novi? Novi is a mobile route planning application focused on accessibility. In other words, Novi is an app similar to Waze, but for the people with reduced mobility. Later, it will also be for people with any kind of disability or any pedestrian concerned with the state of the sidewalks in their city.
So here is a little demonstration of the application. Also, if you have an Android smartphone, you can scan this QR code and download the APK to test the application yourself.
When you open the app, for the first time, you arrive on the login page, where you can either sign in or sign up. You will then be redirected to the main page, on which you can see all the reports. You can search for an address and see it on the map. When you choose a destination, the app will show you two different routes. One shorter and the other one safer, avoiding the reports. When you choose your preferred route, you can launch the navigation. This will display a banner with the instruction and guide you until you reach your destination. In the banner at the bottom, you can also see the remaining time and the distance.
Novi is a community-driven project, so we wanted our user to be able to participate in the reports management. So they have the ability to click on the report marker. This will open this dialog where they can tell us if they still see the report or not. When 3 users say that they don't see the report anymore, it will be deleted from the database, and then it won't be displayed on the map anymore. Also, if you go off your itinerary and you find yourself in the wrong street, the navigation mode will automatically recalculate the itinerary, so you don't have to worry about that. And if you ever witness an obstruction of the way, you can report it, and you will have to choose between 4 different kinds of reports. And each of them has different specificities in database. So when you reported it, it will instantly be added in the database and displayed on the map at the user's location. And last of all, we added the ability from anywhere in the app to click on the SOS button. This will open a dialog and give you the choice between either calling 112 or, if you added one, your emergency contact.
This is our system architecture. we build the app on three parts. First, we have Supabase. It's our database where the reports are saved. It also handles the user authentication. Then we have the backend in Python that contains the business logic. It handles calls to the database and to other external services, like for example, the API call to ORS to get the itineraries. And finally, we have our Flutter front end that handles the interaction with the user.
So this is our tables in database. As you can see, we have three tables. We use the Supabase native users table. We also created a table to store the reports. As you can see, here is the type field where we put one of the four different kinds of reports, and each of them has a specific radius of impact and a specific duration. Also, we use the information count field. This is what we use for the votes of the users. And as we wanted our users to be able to vote only once per report, we created the third table that has a unique constraint on the combination of reports ID and user ID. This might prevent any misusage of the application.
For this project, we use the Agile methodology and decide to divide the time we had in 4 distinct sprints. We organize each sprint the same way. We start each one of them with an organizational meeting. Then, each day, we did a daily to speak about potential problem, solution, and keep track of our achievements. And at the end of each sprint, we did a retrospective.
For the first sprint, we wanted it to be an easy one to get warmed up and gain in confidence. So we worked together on setting up everything we needed for the project, like, for example, the API keys or the architecture. We also worked together on the displaying of the login page and on the display of the OSM map on the main page of the application.
The second sprint where things got serious. We worked together on the implementation of the endpoint routes, which is the heart of this project. In the second half of the sprint, we work separately. I work on the navigation mode and Sarah work on the display of the reports.
The third one was dedicated to the reports endpoint. So I worked on the feature to vote for a report, so to confirm or infirm a report. And Christophe worked on the feature to make a report. And for the last sprint, we wanted it to be light to enable us to keep some extra time for any unexpected problems. So I worked on the SOS button feature that you saw before. And Christophe worked on debugging and corrections, and we also both worked on UI.
Concerning the test we made, we did some unit tests with PyTest. We also did load tests by adding 80 reports at once to see if the database could take it. And we have a cron that regularly adds 20 reports to the database. We use the Swagger documentation to test our endpoints. We use Wonder build and health and care function to make sure our backend had no critical problem. And finally, we did some live testing, first on emulator, then on real smartphone. In this slide, you can see the performance metrics, the success of the test, and the time they took. Now about the security issues. We used code obfuscation to make reverse engineering harder. We used .env to avoid displaying sensitive information. We follow the single-thread pattern to improve organizational security. And we use Supabase authentication that utilizes bcrypt for user registration. We made sure to add a delete cascade to remove any data concerning a user if they delete their account.
So during this project, we really learned a lot. It was a very interesting project because we got to be involved in every stage of the application lifecycle. Also, we had to work with real-world constraints, like, for example, the superbase or ORS limitations. We also had to do tests in a live environment, so it really was something different than the usual theoretical context that we knew so far. It was also our first time collaborating with a third party, so we had to learn how to communicate efficiently to make sure our visions were aligning correctly. We had to learn how to manage our time effectively, so we had to find the balance between making the most of it, but also keeping time for any unexpected events and avoid unnecessary stress and exhaustion. Now for the future of the project, here is a non-exhaustive list of features that we will implement in the future, starting with a profile page for the user, on which they have the ability to log out, to change their emergency contact, but also to save some preferences in terms of routing. We would also love to add the ability to preview your itineraries with instructions and details. Another thing, the location tracking could be smoother. At the moment, we still have some little jumps. It's pretty okay, but it could be smoother. And at the moment, we only use one server, so if the number of users increases, it would be a good thing to add several and to use a load balancer. So in conclusion, we really enjoyed working on this project. It was really cool. We enjoyed working together, and we really learned a lot. So it was we really had a good time.
Thank you all for your attention. We also want to thank Leo for the opportunity and the trust. Many thanks to the mentoring team that is really doing an amazing work. Thank you Anaïk, Chloé, Oussem, Mathieu Arthur, who saved us a couple of times.
And also special thanks to our comrades in C27 that fiercely supported us throughout the year. It was really good to have this year with you. Wouldn't have been the same without you, so thank you very much.
Merci, bravo pour cette présentation. Même question. Est-ce que vous avez des questions? Priam, tu l'avais préparé?
Thank you for your presentation. So you showed us what happens when we have a report and that we say it's not there anymore. But what if it's still there? What happens then when we validate that?
So when the user says that the report is still there, it will then, each report, specific report, has a specific duration in database, as I said. So when the user said that they are still there, it will restart this timestamp, so the reports will stay this time more than it was supposed to stay.
What was the most difficult part to test in your mobile application?
The most difficult is emulator for implement and je réponds en français plutôt. Le plus compliqué, ça a été vraiment l'émulateur parce qu'il a été assez difficile à mettre en route et à configurer. Au niveau des configurations, c'est relativement compliqué en sachant qu'on passait par WSL, donc c'est des émulateurs qui communiquent entre eux.
Ok. Bon, je reste en français du coup.
Je peux te dire merci.
Donc lors de vos tests en conditions réelles, donc je te voyais parcourir la pleine image chaque jour.
J'ai jamais
Donc,
autant marché.
quel a été le bug le plus surprenant que tu aies rencontré pendant ta phase de test?
Alors le plus surprenant, on va dire que ça a été le fait que quand j'avais mis pas mal d'incidents au niveau des points de départ, et au final la route qui était la plus sûre était décalé 2 rues en fait. Donc le point de départ était décalé 2 rues. Donc on a dû implémenter, on a dû implémenter une zone d'exclusion pour pouvoir avoir le point de départ et pouvoir avoir un chemin valide.
Ok. D'autres questions? Une dernière. Est-ce que vous avez kiffé travailler ensemble?
Ah bah franchement, on a adoré travailler ensemble. Ouais, on n'en peut plus. Non, vraiment, on a vraiment adoré travailler ensemble. En plus, on est vraiment complémentaires, donc ça a été génial. On
Ouais.
s'entend super bien.
Hyper intéressant, humainement et techniquement, c'était vraiment cool.
Et c'était travailler en s'amusant.
Ouais, c'est vrai.
On vous a entendu beaucoup rire, en effet. Ce qui était chouette, c'est de travailler avec un pro, tout
Ouais.
comme Priam. Et ça, merci aux pros qui sont ici dans la salle d'avoir fait confiance à nos étudiants et d'avoir été un peu tuteurs de ces projets. Je ne sais pas si Léo est à distance.
Je pense qu'il verra le live. Il avait une réunion cet après-midi.
Il
mais
avait une
on
réunion,
verra.
donc il regardera plus tard. Ok, super. Bon, merci encore. Sans plus attendre, on va à moitié clore ce live, puisqu'en fait, il nous reste une dernière personne à passer, sauf que son projet est confidentiel, puisque c'est le projet d'une société. Donc, on va le faire ici en interne. Mais merci en tout cas d'avoir visionné cette vidéo et on se retrouve bientôt pour un prochain démodé ou également, spoiler alerte, le 9 avril pour la remise de diplôme à la French Tech. Voilà, je vous souhaite une très bonne après-midi ou un très bon après-midi, on peut dire les deux, et à bientôt.